Our mission is to encourage and uplift women to birth their ministry and accomplish their mission. Together, we are the difference in action for positive change. Two humanitarians, Drs. Anita McKamey and Tamisha D. Walker, are changing the world by giving voice to women around the globe, encouraging authors, marriages, mothers and wives to live out their ministry on mission. Join us Fridays at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and spread the word as we reach out our goal of making a difference in the lives of 200,000 people. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to our second episode of Ministry on Mission. We are super excited to have a special guest with us today. In today's episode, we're talking about legacy missions. So when we think legacy missions, we're thinking like something that's continuing on because of something that was started. And so today's guest is going to be sharing with us about legacy missions. And so before we begin, let's talk about today. I'm wearing a little bit of green because today is St. Patrick's Day. And as you guys might have noticed, my last name is McKamey, and I'm claiming that whole 1% of my husband's family blood on this day. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying I'm claiming my little 1%. So that's why I'm just a little bit green today. So I'm excited. We want to welcome my co-host, Dr. Tamisha Walker. Welcome. We're so glad that you are here today. We are looking forward to today's conversation with Ambassador Dr. Omenesa Akomolafe from Nigeria, Africa. I hope I said that name right with all the right inflections. Probably not, but we want to welcome her. We are so excited to have her on today. She is an amazing woman with a story to tell us. So I am majorly excited to hear her story and for her to share with us about how she started her ministry and how she is planning to finish her mission. And so she is an author. She is an actress. She's an ambassador. She's a nursing student. She is an entrepreneur. She leads multiple organizations. She's like one of those serial entrepreneur people, right? That does all the things. And she's so amazing. She is a wife. She has started multiple organizations, sits on the boards of organizations, and she's also a mentor. She's also the girl next door, the one who you can call on the phone and say, how are you doing? And she will literally talk to you like a real person. So we are so super excited to have Ambassador Dr. Omenesa Akomolafe here with us. And we are going to go ahead and welcome her. Dr. Tamisha Walker, how are you feeling on today?
Super excited, as I always am, but today has been a day like many others, but I'm so excited that we were able to come together on here. And even though it's been a day that has helped me to push through and create even a larger legacy with the missions that I do, I'm extremely excited for us to bring together the culmination of all that we talk about when it comes to ministry and all that we're doing as far as missions, and that we actually get to talk to you guys today about somebody who's walking out exactly what we've been sharing with you, exactly what we've been talking about. So I'm excited. I'm glad that we're doing this. And can you guys believe it? It is our second show. This is so awesome. So we are very excited and happy that you have joined us, that we are out here sharing about the goodness of the Lord and what he has called us to do, and that you are joining us in this journey to do the same things within your life. So thank you. We appreciate all of you that are joining us live right now and those that are watching this show in its replays. Thanks for being here. So awesome. As we talked, go ahead.
So with that, we want to go ahead and bring in our guest now. Ambassador Dr. Omenesa, welcome to the show. Welcome. How are you today?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Awesome. So tell us where you began ministry to mission. And what do we mean when we say that is like, how did you kind of get to the point that you knew that your calling was just greater than, being an author or just being a business owner or just being whatever you were doing at the time, just going to school? Like, tell us how that evolution happened with you and when you had that realization that you were to do something more.
Thank you. Well, I started ministry actually when I was a child. When I was 3 years old, I was singing. I was on the podium with my parents, and I was in the choir. I was dancing, and then I was a teenager. I was in the school choir. I was in the adult choir. I was leading choirs at Severance Hall in Cleveland, Ohio. I was leading praise and worship at church. And all of that just seemed like it was what I was supposed to be doing because I was a PK. And of course I went to college and I was doing the same thing. And then I think when I knew for a fact that, okay, this is really, really what I was called to do was when I got married and I moved to Nigeria for a certain amount of years. And in those years, I was operating on a totally different plateau, on a totally different anointing, on a totally different trajectory. It was very, very obvious that I was called to missions because everything that I was doing was so easy. It was just so easy. I mean, it was more than writing books. It was just easy to put together an event. It was easy to put together a book launch. It was easy to record an album. It was easy to stand on the street and invite people to church. It was easy to start an organization. It was just easy. Everything was easy. And basically, when you are in the will of God, things are so much easier. But then when you are in missions and it's ironic that I found myself in Nigeria, and then the name of the show is Missions. And then at this moment, even though last week I was in New York, but at this moment I am in Nigeria. So this is not a coincidence at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not. So basically at that point, I knew when I was in Nigeria, which was in 2011, I knew, okay, so I am called to global. I am called globally in ministry, in missions. But then in 2022, I became a director to an organization that is totally global, but not religious. And it's amazing how the word global keeps following me. I found myself in another organization that took me to Dubai. And then I started going from country to country. So it's not just, so yes, I'm heavily involved in missions, in ministry, but I'm also involved in global connectivity and
Sure.
in global relationships, which has truly enhanced my ministry, even though I also deal with a lot of secular organizations.
I see. So you mentioned that you're a PK. For those who have no idea, what is a PK?
So a PK is a pastor's kid. And as a pastor's kid, you are expected to sing the praise and worship, and then your mother's going to play the piano, and then your father's going to preach. Now, in my case, like my mother was not playing the piano, but everything was just so I thought that I was just doing that based on just being a pastor's kid. Of course, till I grew and I went to college. And then I saw myself singing in different states and representing my university as the lead singer of a group called Furious Love. We traveled to Oklahoma, to Mexico, and I was lead singer to many of the songs. And I just found myself traveling. And once in a while, like I'll think to myself, I can do this. And right then, like at the time, I was a music major, and then I wanted to do psychology. And it was while going on the road like that I changed my major to church ministries.
Wow, that's incredible. You mentioned your mom, and we're talking about legacy today. We researched you, and your resume is extensive. I mean, Omanessa means my own is unique. And then she has a middle name, Chingwe, which means God's own. And she has definitely lived a unique life. Like, she's a certified resolution therapist. So she provides like a healing program. She's also a pageant queen. She's also queen of women of achievement pageant in California. She represents Mrs. Nigeria. That's incredible. She's also New York director of Global Society of Female Entrepreneurs. And there's that global again, as you were saying. You're a columnist for a magazine. You sing and you're a recording artist. My goodness, she owns a mentoring program called the Rock College. She has an organization, a global organization, Pros and Paws International. Incredible. And we noticed that you're also a caregiver, that you work with dementia patients, that you're a certified nursing assistant, and it goes on and on and on and on. My goodness, we are impressed. Tell us about this one thing in particular. You did a world tour, right? Last year, Nothing Happens in the Grave. And tell us about the legacy of your mom that led to that tour, and like explain to us how that developed and how that ministry turned into that mission, because I think that would be very exciting for us to hear about.
Thank you. Well, having the privilege to nurse my mother, I thought that I was just nursing her for that period in time, and I thought that I was just in nursing for that season. And then she died, and I found out that my life is truly literally in nursing. But then I realized that everything that I had been doing up to that point had been nursing. I realized that running my organization and just being a wife and being a friend and being heavily involved in volunteer work and in community service, all of that was nursing. Even being an only child to my aged parents, that was nursing. And so after my mother died, I did get into nursing, as I said, but then that whole experience, watching her death very, very slowly, it was a very, very painful transition. Watching her like that made me realize that, wow, you know, life is really, really short. And because I was with her for so many years, I was able to see what she was able to accomplish and what she did not accomplish. And so when I was watching her life fleeting literally out of her, you know, I told myself that I was not going to die full. Now, was it her fault that she did die with a lot of dreams on the inside of her? No, but just watching her made me really scared and made me understand the verse in the Bible that says that you work out your salvation with fear and trembling. And I took that from the context of you work out your salvation, your livelihood, why you are here, your purpose, everything with fear and trembling, because the night will surely come. And I watched her night, I watched her evening, I watched her morning, and I watched her transition. And so I knew that this too will happen to me. And so it was very, very important that I die empty. I don't want people saying, oh, she was going to be a this, she was thinking of doing that, she always wanted to do this. God forbid. I want it to be that she did this. She impacted people's lives. I mean, because of her, this and this happened. Because of her, that and that happened. And so as soon as my mother died, I took off running. I moved to New York. I wrote a 660-page book. I mean, I started doing things like the type of adrenaline that came on the inside of me was nothing short of the anointing of God, but also because I did have that fear and trembling. And so that's how I pretty much ran my life. And while I went to visit her, one of the years, I just looked at the grave and just how quiet and silent everything was, just how peaceful the environment was, but just how, even though it was peaceful, it was void, it was dead. It was dead. And It was the silence of dead dreams. It was the peace of dead dreams, which is a tragedy, which is not good. And so at that moment, I just said, wow, nothing happens in the grave. And so I composed a song, and I just started to sing the song. And I'm here thinking, okay, well, this is just going to be a song, and then I got into pageantry, and I was asked what my platform would be. And I said, nothing happens in the grave. And I put that in 6 different points, which is to know what your purpose is, and die empty, and register your company, and plan a legacy, and all of that. And then I traveled to Dubai, and I watched the liberty of these women. I have just never seen women that successful in my life, have children, be married, and still do all that they're doing. Those people do not sleep. As I'm talking to you now, like I'm telling you, they are wide awake, probably on their 6th party, on their 6th connection, on their 6th
I know what
networking.
you're saying is true.
I was like, yes, I'm like,
It's
how do
different
people
culture.
live like this? They are networking on a yacht. They are networking on a boat. They are networking in conferences. Like, even what they wear is networking. I mean, like, there are people who just go to the hotel in Dubai, sit down in the lobby, and talk to strangers. And that's their networking. Like, I mean, they are on a different level. And so when I left there and I saw this woman, I've forgotten what her name is, but she's 60-something years old, and she's a professional pole dancer, not in the derogatory way, but this woman literally owns a pole dancing company at 60-something years old.
Oh my goodness.
And
Wait
that
a minute.
did-
Wait a
and that
minute.
did-
She's 60 and she owns a pole dancing company. Okay.
A pole dancing company with at 60 something, and then she also pole danced for us. And she kept saying, and all I kept hearing was, it's not too late, because I felt like so many things had passed me by, and it's too late for me. There's just certain things that I can't do at this age. I can't model at this age. I can't have kids at this age. I can't this at this age. I can't that at this age. This woman comes at 60 something, and she pretty much she symbolizes that statement of you are not too old and it's not too late.
Yeah.
And
that's so
that
true.
moment, and at that moment, the moment I saw this woman holding a pole, the moment I saw this 60-something-year-old woman, I was like, okay, nothing really happens in the grave. So you know what? We are going to Cleveland, Ohio. We are going to Italy. We are going and I literally planned the whole thing there. I planned the tour with no money, with no plan. I got back to the US. I told people who wanted to hear about it. And of course, people who were just as crazy as me, people like you too, we just hopped on and we just did it, that's another, yes. And like, that's another thing. If you are going to accomplish something, you have to realize that you are not going to have a lot of friends. And the people who are in your corner will be just as crazy as you. And that's what makes it fun. Because then you don't have to explain yourself, explain why this is this and explain why this is that. No. And so this is the book, Nothing Happens in the Grave. This is not the tour book, but this is the very first book, Nothing Happens in the Grave, and it is on Amazon. But we also have the tour group book, which is Misery to Miracles, Nothing Happens in the Grave. And both of you are on that book.
Yes. That's an amazing book.
Yes.
And it was extremely exciting to see you bring together so many of us to support this dream and this mission, and to share with other people, to not let anything happen in the grave, but to really live it out, To really live it out.
I mean, like today, when I knew that I was doing this show, it's 11 o'clock here. And usually I would have my face all powdered up. I would have my eyebrows arched. I would have a makeup artist sitting down in the living room, have my face all baked up at 11 p.m. And then you realize that you are almost 40 years old and you just don't have the energy. It's 11 o'clock and it's time to sleep. So I'm just going to do this recording and I'm just going to wash my face and just put some lip gloss. And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Amazing.
And like when you're getting older, you just don't care. Like you really just don't care. And that's a good thing about not caring, but that's also a scary thing because, whoa, I am getting older. Oh my God, I don't have that energy anymore. And that should scare you. So for those of you who are watching, it should really, really scare you. Yes, it's a blessing that you're getting older, but it should scare you that you're getting older because you have not written that book. You have not gone to nursing school. You have not gotten married. You still don't have those kids. You haven't moved to that country. You haven't done A, B, C, D. You just haven't. So
and like you said, it's about dying empty, right? Like do the things now, no matter what the situation, no matter what the circumstance is bringing to you. Like, what is your ultimate goal? Like, are you actually accomplishing the mission, right, of the ministry, or are you just doing things for the sake of doing things? And I think that if we don't have a focus for our mission, if we don't have a foundation for why we're doing what we're doing, and we don't have that internal motivation to go out and do the mission, then the things aren't going to add up to done. It's not going to add up to finished. It's not going to add up to accomplished, right? Because we've just been doing things half-heartedly and just putting things wherever. But you found a way to gather all that you are and all that you've, this thing, that thing, the other thing of who you are, and culminated it together, not just in a book, but among people, and make it a worldwide global phenomenon, which I think is incredible. So kudos to you for being a global phenomenon, which we are all amazed. And I truly hope that the ladies that watch this show today understand that, like on the show last week, we talked a little bit about spiritual gifts. And then on our Instagram page, I kind of expounded a little bit more about finding a spiritual gifts inventory and talking through like how that was just one stepping stone, one way to figure out what I'm made of, right? So that then you can apply it to your life and you can tie all those pieces together. So now you know why you're here, what you're doing, because that's a lot of people, they struggle with purpose. So talk to us a little bit about purpose and how you found purpose, because that's really important for us, because if we don't know why we're doing what we're doing, then we're aimless. And why? Who cares? You know what I mean? So sometimes some people are building phenomenal things, even making money, right? And they don't even know why I'm doing this or who am I leaving it to and what's the point, right? A lot of business leaders even, they come to a point where like, I've reached the top of the ladder, but who's coming after me? Like, do I have mentors? Do I have somebody who can pick up where I've left off the pieces? You have literally built structure so that legacy will follow you. Talk to us about that.
Okay, so I'll start off with purpose and then I will talk about my plan for legacy. Purpose, first of all, it's not necessarily something that you like doing. Quite honestly, I don't like nursing. But I know that that's what I'm supposed to do. And so when I work on the dementia floor, I am taught I'm taught every minute of how to be patient and how to listen and how to say the same thing a million times and not be angry, and so your purpose is not necessarily what you like. However, you will find yourself thrown in that same thing. You will be thrown in that when you go to a brand new school. You will be thrown in that department. You will be thrown in that club. When you go to a brand new church, you will be thrown in that department. You will be thrown in that church. Every time you join an organization, they always put you on the prayer team, or they put you on hospitality, or they put you on this, or they put you on that. Like, you notice that since you were a child, you are always placed in a certain club, in a certain category, with a certain people, with a certain circle. And you may not like it. You may not like it at all. So I had to say that because a lot of people have thought that, because I like doing this must be my purpose. Yes, you should like doing your purpose, but I just really wanted to clear that out. So in terms of your purpose, you will know that this is what you are supposed to do. And when you start doing it, you have to be consistent. You have to be consistent with it. And then if you happen to be ambidextrous like me, and a lot of people are ambidextrous, but we've grown up in a society where people are encouraged to only focus on one thing or focus on two things, but three of us know that we are not those women. And so we do a million things at the same time, and we happen to be successful with it. What has made that successful is, for me, is the moment I stopped being a control freak, I became a success. And that's nothing but the God honest truth. The moment I stopped being a control freak, the moment I actually was able to let it go. I have an organization called Pearls and Paws International, and I was such a control freak that I wanted things to be a certain way. We are going to be over 5,000 people, and we're just going to be all over the world. It doesn't matter if I don't know your phone number. It doesn't matter if I can't reach y'all, as long as we are just so many and we are global, you know? And one day I was like, no, like if I can't reach these people, if I can't impact them, and that's another thing about purpose, is that you have to actually want to impact people. And so I went through that season in my life where I was not no, it's not that I wasn't interested in impacting people. That just wasn't my focal point. Like, my focal point was the numbers. And then when you start growing in God, and you start growing as a businesswoman, and then you start growing and thinking about legacy, you start thinking about impartation. And so sometimes to impart people, you have to go smaller. You would have to be able to contain whatever it is that you've built. And so I was like, no, Pearls and Paws International will no longer be thousands of people. We can have concerts, we can have crusades, but we are going to have people that we can actually speak to. We actually know where they live. And so what we did was we put a registration that was steep enough so we can get rid of people who are just jokers, because we do have that category. And so when people can't pay, you know, it's not all the time that they can't pay, it's just that they're not interested. And so we had to get all those people who are not interested. And then now we got our people. And then now we're able to impact the few that we have, and oh, the peace and oh, the joy that floods my soul. Oh my God.
That's incredible.
Just not feeling that need to control things. And then because they're smaller, I can delegate and actually go to sleep and know that these 5-7 people who are in the executive group, and you're one of them, they are actually working on my behalf. And now, God forbid, but if I die now, people get it. People actually get it. I'm not worried anymore about Pearls and Paws International. I'm not worried about Aaron. I'm not even worried about the business part of my brand, because I have two girls who just wake up in the morning and they posted stuff I didn't even tell them to post, you know? And so obviously, like, they're watching me. Somebody is watching. And so in terms of legacy, is you have to be able to let it go. You have to build your business or build your ministry from a standpoint of, what if I die tomorrow? You have to be able to think about death. And so I thought about it, just like because I watched my mother die. So that day is going to come when I would die. And because I don't have any children now, and I'm praying for children, but what if, just what if? What if they don't come? I had to start planning. I had to start mentoring younger people. There's a young lady named Jane, and I don't know if she's here, but I am on Jane's case. Jane Francis. I am on the girl's head. I'm standing on her head every minute. She probably doesn't know why. And sometimes, like, as a visionary, you see a younger person and you see yourself in that young person. That young person does not know. They don't know where you're headed. And so you're yelling at them every minute and you're calling on them every second. And they think, oh my God, she's just, why can't she stop? They don't even know. But that's okay. You keep yelling. You keep doing that. You keep pulling them in because you see what they don't see. And God forbid, if I don't go today, I know that Jane will have my back. She would finally get it. She would be like, oh, that's why she was, that's why she wanted to see me. Oh, that's why.
Because legacy isn't always about having children. It's about who's following you, who's paying attention, right? That's
Exactly.
beautiful what you said.
Who
I
is
love
paying
it.
attention?
So we are going to go to a quick break. And then when we get back, we are going to be talking to our audience members. We want you guys to get your questions ready for Ambassador Dr. Omanessa Akumalafe. And we are going to be asking her some questions. So please, we are looking to hear from our audience members. And so in just a moment, we're just going to take a quick pause and then we are going to come right back. So thank you so much for being here, Dr. Omanessa. We look forward to some more in this second half, and we will be right back. Alrighty, well, welcome back to the show. We have a large audience today. Welcome, everybody. We are so glad that you guys are here. Listen, we are looking for your questions for Dr. Omanessa. People are already beginning to tell us that they also want to die empty. That's one of the things that she mentioned earlier. Someone mentioned being in God's will makes things like missions easier. And so we appreciate that comment. What questions do you have for Dr. Omanessa today? Remember, when we open up for questions for guests, it is the wise woman who asks questions. It is the person who does it. I tell my students this all the time. Listen, you got somebody major in front of you. Ask the questions, right? Because when you don't ask questions, then that's you relying on your own ignorance, and you just, stay that way. And so it's an option, right? To always ask that. Or even if you have a compliment, or if you have anything that you would like to say, the floor is now open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that you are able to share with us, and just simply let me know that you are interested in sharing, and we are going to make that happen for everyone. So I'm going to let everyone speak. And here we go. Who is first? All right, I'm looking. No questions from anyone? People came to see today. Dr. Tamisha, did you have any questions for our guests? Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. We do have a person that has a question. Thanks for raising your hand there. Gonna have you go ahead and ask your question. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Welcome.
Does it mean that everything you do in life, both secular and spiritual, does it entail, can I call it mission? Can it fit in as a That's
so
my
it
question.
sounds like your question is, your question for Dr. Omanessa is, can we call everything spiritual a mission? Like, I think that's your question, yes?
Yes, everything we do, even your circle as a job, can we call them a mission, or is it the word mission? Does it entail who you are or what to do?
Dr. Omanessa?
Yes. Yes, everything that you do is ministry. And because I grew up in ministry, I thought that ministry only connoted, preaching, singing, crusading, evangelism. And then I found out that Jesus himself was missions. Jesus himself was ministry. And we were never told that he had a church, yet he made so much impact. So yes, at your secular job, as I believe that you are a leader in an organization, that's ministry, that's missions. At your job at 9 to 5, that's missions. As a wife, that's missions. As a daughter, as a sister, that's missions. Even being on here, keeping to your word, being integral to us and to yourself, that's missions. Everything that you do is missions. Now, how you run that mission is up to you. You know, just as how we have like some pastors who are crazy and they run the mission like crazy people. So you make a decision on how you're going to run your life, because your life is your church. So how are you going to run it? It is a mission. Everything you do is a mission.
Everything you do is a mission. I love that part because it's so true. Everything you do. So any other questions for our guest, Dr. Omanessa, today? I really appreciate you asking that question too, because that's really important. I don't think people realize that they're setting an expectation just by doing what they do every day, right? Because we don't want to die empty. Nothing happens in the grave, right? So every day when you're doing something, you're headed somewhere, right? You're either headed up or you're headed down, right? You're headed left or you're headed right. Every decision you make is taking you in a different direction. So what direction do you want to go is the question. And if you can't answer that question, then that means you're going somewhere aimlessly and you don't even know where you're going to end up. But if you are intentional with the steps leading in that direction, you will always know your destination. I love that. Any other questions for our guest today? Someone said, wow, everything you do is missions. Amen. Someone else said, your life is your church. And it really is, right? Even the Bible lets us know, like, we are the church, right? So we have 20 minutes remaining. Dr. Walker, share with us your thoughts.
So this has been amazing. And I love the points that you brought out concerning us personally having a ministry and a mission, just period. When you woke up today and God gave you breath to move today, you have a ministry. You sincerely have a mission. And that's why we joined together to even do this show and to bring on amazing people like Ambassador Dr. Omanessa, because we want to show you that you can start with that breath each day and multiply what God has given you through the talents, through the time, and through taking moments with the Lord every day to say, God, what is it that you want me to do today with what you've given me? What is it that you want me to do? Jesus continuously met with God. He continuously took that time away. We see in the word where he was over and over and over again getting quiet and saying, Lord, what is it you want me to do? How is it you want me to move? Where is it you want me to go? And we see that through our guest's life. You see that. She stopped and took the time to listen and to see where God was placing her. And then say, Lord, here am I. What's the rest of it? Send me. Here am I. Send me. And she went. We see it from ends of the earth. She has gone. She has gone all over the continent, fulfilling what God has called her to do. So I'm just extremely excited. And I will say, one of my questions would be, with you taking those steps and having that energy to say that nothing happens in the grave. We heard you say it was like you were just emboldened to get this done, to get all of these things completed, right? What would you say in our last little bit is going to be your next steps? What would you say is going to be your next steps? And what is it that you feel that's not been completed, but that you feel that God has called you to and you are working towards? So those are my two questions for you.
thank you for the compliment and thank you for asking that. So my next step is very ironic. My next step is I am going to get to wherever I'm going so much faster by sitting. That's my next step. My next step is I am taking so many steps by sitting in one place. That is my next step. I have ran, I have flown, I have swam, literally. I have done so much in my life. It's truly unbelievable. I'm writing a book now titled The Year Before 40. And it's very hard to write. It's very hard to write. One of the chapters in the book is recovering all. And writing that book has made me realize that I have accomplished way more than the year before 40. But there are certain basics that I haven't accomplished. So it's pretty much like having a house and you have all the furniture, you have everything, but you don't have a door. You don't have windows. And so I am at that place in my life where I'm sitting. That's my next step. Where I am sleeping, where I am drinking water, where I am praying, where I am fasting, where I am writing down everything that God is telling me, where I'm actually answering the phone, where I actually know the person that I'm talking to on the phone and not just being fast about it and being quick about it, and where I can actually count my thoughts. And I have noticed that there is so much speed in stillness. And so that is my next step. And that's where I am now in my life. And I don't know how long God is going to have me on this, on this turtle journey, because that's really what it is. But I am enjoying it thus far. And then my next step, the next question you asked me was, what do I feel that I haven't done? Because really, as I've been writing this book, I've realized that really, if I died today, I truly have done enough. I haven't done everything, but I have done stuff. Like I've accomplished some stuff by the grace of God. But I haven't, I want to help people financially because people have helped me financially. Both of you have helped me financially. I've helped y'all financially, like we've helped each other. But I really, really want to be that person where I can pay for somebody's IVF, like they can call on my organization. And I found that since my organization, has a different mission and has a different purpose, just yesterday I said, you know what, I'm going to start a new organization called Yellow. And I am on the verge of registering it. It's going to be yellow. Why? Because it's bright, because yellow is bright and yellow is hope. And all what we're going to do in that foundation is we are going to feed people. We are going to people who need money for tuition. They can call us and we'll send money, And so that is my next step. My next step in life is to be a philanthropist big time, big time. And big time, the world is going to know me, not because I am famous or whatever, but because I am helping people financially. Yeah, that is my next step. And yeah, so I am working on that registration now, which was just birthed in me yesterday. And y'all know me, like once I see it, it's done. And so probably in a week, it will be done and y'all will see a logo and then y'all will hear my noise about it. And then it will happen. And then I'll call both of you to deposit or donate like $100. And then that's how we start. Yes.
I love that.
So I'm just
idea.
telling you
Yellow.
Now. So I pitched it already. So that's my pitch, so
you have pitched it globally. So listen, if you just heard that and you want to help her give and you want to help feed some people, Yellow, look for it. Look for it. We have one last question for you. Someone asked, I'd like to know, what if you've been going down the wrong path, dedicated to the very wrong purpose? How do you come back? Knowing it's not easy, for some it's too late, but say you find out you're on the wrong path, how do you move back into your purpose, into the right path? We've got couple of minutes for you to answer this question for us.
Okay, so if you're driving on the road and you find out that it's a dead end and you keep trying to push that car in through that dead end, in through that brick wall, and you're pushing full throttle going towards the dead end, all of the bricks are going to crash. The car is going to be stuck and you'll probably die, right?
Right.
Or the car will be messed up, and then you're still going to have to get out of the car and walk back. So now that the engine is still running, I'm just going to tell you to reverse and reverse as fast as you can, because it's a dead end. You can't crawl over to the other side, because I would have told you that. You can't crawl under, you can't fly over. There's nothing. So you're going to have to go back, and not just go back, because the older you are, the faster you have to be about it. So,
wow.
And the
Say it
further,
again.
and the further you've gone, the faster you have to be about it, because it's getting dark. And so the darker it is, like, you know how they told you, like, you can't go out in the dark, and oh, no, it's too dark outside, so we're going to wait till morning. So because it's already dark, it's already evening time, you're going to have to run back, because guess what? It gets dangerous when it's dark.
Yes.
So now you're going to have to run with fear and trembling, and you better be fast about it, because there really is no other choice.
That's so good.
You don't have a choice.
Ma'am, that's a whole, you can break that.
She
right
just
there.
preached, right? That was
Right
like
there.
a whole mini sermon, right?
I'm trying to stay still. Wait a minute. That right there. Y'all, come on. That right there. Y'all better get y'all offerings into yellow. Okay? Listen here. Okay? Listen here. You said some key things. 3 key things, right? So once you acknowledge it's a dead end, huh? Once you acknowledge and you see it, or you have mentorship, somebody like the ambassador who says, excuse me, that's not the way to go. Okay? As you get in your quiet time and God says, baby girl, that's not what we're doing. We need to go this way. You need to stop. Not press forward, not think about it, not meander a little bit along the way, not check the road signs a little bit more, not see if the cliff is really a cliff, right? No, you gotta stop. Acknowledge and turn your behind around. So take action and move. And then she said, don't just move. What? Sis, you said with some speed. Put some speed on it. Get your feet to moving, because the night is coming. Oh, I love the way you said that, because I could literally see the picture. The night is coming. We do not have time to play around with the ministry that God has given us. We don't have time. We do not have the time. And something we didn't talk about is a few other things in your resume that lend you to say, don't let this night come and you still holding on to things. Don't let this night come when you take your final breath. If we're still here, if the Lord should tarry, and you take your last breath and you're still holding on because you didn't listen, because you didn't full throttle stop and turn yourself around and run towards God, what God was leading you in. Ma'am,
So
that was
good.
a word.
That was a whole word. That was a whole word. She said, you can't run towards a dead end because you're going too far. Wow. Wow. Yes. Listen, we have a lot more to talk about, I think. That's what I think. I mean, I just don't think this conversation is finished. But we are going to pick this right back up live on Facebook in about 5 minutes, because we have so much more that we want to ask you, Dr. Obadessa. You didn't open up a whole can of worms, and we want to pick your brain some more. We have more questions that are coming in, and we got to know what else. What else? We're excited to hear about Yellow. We're excited to hear about all the things. We want to know how we can contact you. If someone wants to buy your book, if they want to follow up with you, if they want to, be in touch, how do they get a hold of you? Where do they go? You do a lot of things. Is there What do we do? What do we do? How can we help?
You can help on, you can go on Amazon to get every single one of my books. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on IG. If you need counseling, if you need connectivity, the number is +1 917-349 7226. That's +1 917-349 7226. You could also join Pearls and Pauls International. It's an organization where we are all about emotional healing and community, and healing to heal. And prayer and fasting. We're just a very tight-knit group. I'm passionate about that group. And if you want to join GSFE, Global Society for Female Entrepreneurs, it's a networking group where we literally connect you with women and men who are doing great things. And so you're not blinking in the dark. So yeah, and if all else fails, trying to look me up on Reverb Nation or trying to look me up on YouTube, then just Google.
Yeah, because we didn't even talk about the music part. We didn't even get into that part at all. Listen, recording artists, music videos, you've recorded in the States, internationally, we have so much more to talk about. Ladies, did you enjoy this? Because I surely did. This was incredible. We want to thank you so very, very much. We know you are in Nigeria right now. It's super late. We are so privileged that you decided to come and to hang out at Ministry on Mission. What you are doing is literally what this show is designed to push women towards. It's designed to make more Ambassador Dr. Omonesa Akumulapes. This is what we are trying to attempt to do, is to mentor women and to encourage women to start their ministry and finish the mission. Finish the mission. Don't just start the ministry and not finish the mission, right? It's got to be both. It must be both. Listen, if you enjoyed this episode, I want you to share. I want you to follow us at Ministry on Mission everywhere. Whatever your favorite social media is, that's the one you follow. We want to connect with you. And like I said, we're going to be going live on FB right after this. So if you care to hear more, if you did not get your question answered, all of those things, we are going to be there live for, at least 20 minutes with Dr. Omonesa herself, who is willing to talk to us a little bit more. So we're super excited. Dr. Walker, what are your parting words on today?
Well, I would say this has just been amazing. As I said, even in the final few moments, one thing we didn't mention early on was to have your paper and your pen. But honey, if you don't know by now, gems are dropping just continuously. Gems are dropping. So Ambassador Dr. Omonesa, we have been honored to have you here. You are a global icon, and we greatly appreciate what God is doing in your life. And the fact that you honored us by sharing that on here, your message is amazing. Your ministry is awesome. And so we just continue to encourage you and to encourage those that are watching you and mentored by all of the steps that you are taking to continuously seek God and run till that mission is finished. Run and get it done in the stillness, in those quiet moments, in that listening to the Lord and taking the steps that He has called for us to take. So we are so encouraged by what you're doing. We're so appreciative that you took the time, and we look forward to supporting you continuously as we have been, right? And continuing to work together, but supporting you to continue running and striving and doing all the things that God has called you to do. Just thank you. Thank you for being you. We appreciate it. Your heart, your smile, your hug, and just who you are, because your words make a difference. They make a difference in all of our lives. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of our audience members on today. Literally, we have a global audience today, and we truly appreciate you guys staying up late, being up early, whatever time. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. Thank you for being here. God bless each and every one of you. Until next week on Ministry on Mission, don't forget to start your ministry and finish your mission.
Thank you for joining Ministry on Mission TV. On behalf of Drs. Anita McCaney and Tanisha D. Walker, we invite you to connect in the community and online at Ministry on Mission. Here at Ministry on Mission TV, we equip and encourage women to start their ministry and finish the mission. Remember,
Isaiah 40:3. Prepare on purpose.
Mark 1:3. Let's hear your voice.